Scott Calvin, better known as Santa Claus, once said, "Everybody loves Denny's. It's an American institution." But I'm here to tell you that that is simply wrong. I'm from New York. We have 43 Denny's locations in the entire state, and I hate every single one of them. I'm Oliver the Ricketts, and I love comfort food. And that's no secret. I've been sampling and trying out and covering different kinds of food on this very show for over 2 years. And I've hit a lot of different topics. I love food, maybe too much. Now here in the United States, Denny's is a staple when it comes to comfort food. Since 1953, it's been a place of convenience and the promise of at least a somewhat decent diner type meal. You might not go here to celebrate your wedding, but it could be a cool spot for when your buddies win a local pool tournament, for example. The bowling team went big last night, or you want to take your woman on a date and you're 43. It's not the most fancy 5-star establishment, but they serve breakfast all day, they're open late, and they're very affordable. Denny's is known nationwide for their one-of-a-kind culinary dishes, such as the Grand Slam, which is all you could ever want in a breakfast dish. Maybe even more than you could ever want in any dish. More of a lunch guy? That's cool. Check out the Grand Slammwich.
They're very popular.
Denny's just has a dish for every occasion. Except for your wedding, we talked about that earlier. Denny's has locations in all 50 of the United States of America, with California coming in first with 368 locations. Texas is a close second with 204 Denny's open and in operation. And Florida is a distant but still impressive third place with 125 Denny's locations across the entire state. And now that brings us to New York, which I already mentioned is right in the middle when it comes to how many Denny's we have, with an already mentioned 43 different locations still in operation today in 2023. And that's pretty decent. So what makes New York Denny's so notable? It's that they all suck. They are the worst. Any New Yorker will tell you there's just no reason to go to Denny's here at home. And this is a weird phenomenon because I know plenty of New Yorkers that love Denny's when they're out of state. They will go to Denny's and they will love every second of it, but they won't go when they're here at home in New York. It's almost like when your parents pretend that a long road trip is the only time that you could possibly get Dairy Queen, even though there's a Dairy Queen right down the road from your house. And I know that sounds niche, but I also know that everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. Dads on the road love a blizzard. It doesn't fall out of the cup. Because Denny's doesn't just exist in Florida, but that is the only place where I've firsthand heard somebody recommend going there and mean it. Meanwhile, here in New York, Denny's has some critics, to say the least. In fact, there's one 10 minutes away from my apartment, and I have zero desire to go there because it just looks uninviting and sad. And appearances be damned, it closes at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. and it's Denny's. And for context, in any other given state, Denny's is a 24-hour institution. That's the point of them. Being open late is a Denny's trademark. Like when the McDonald's ice cream machine is broken, it's part of the charm. Look at this sign in this out-of-state Denny's. What does it say? Open late? Oh, like every other Denny's, unless you're right by my apartment. But okay, let's say it's before 9 p.m. on a Saturday and you wanted to go to Denny's. Let's take a look at what kind of experience we could expect from any New York Denny's with some Google reviews. We'll go firsthand and see what the shoppers and eaters are saying right here in my home state. These reviews are specifically for the Denny's down the street from my house that I will be going to later. Most horrible experience ever. I would give this diner 0 stars if I could. You can give it 0 stars. No one will arrest you. This is the worst managed Denny's in the universe. The universe. And we know she means it because she ends the review with the phrase, "No exaggeration." This person just writes, "Greasy spoon." I don't know what that means. But then he followed up with a second review, I guess to clarify, where he says, I had a typical breakfast of scrambled eggs, bacon, hash browns, and toast. Was very greasy and only adequate. If you're looking for more than just adequate, maybe you went wrong when you said, I'm gonna go to Denny's. They was very rude to they customers. And already that should turn you off from going to this Denny's. But then the review continues, and it's damning. They had poor service, and food was very nasty and cold. The cleanliness was worse than eating outside off of New York City dumps. So to clarify, this person is saying that in the state of New York, it is a better bet to drive to Manhattan, the most densely populated and possibly dirtiest part of the state, go to their dump and eat off the floor than to risk it and eat at Denny's. And you know what? I don't even think he's wrong. And so the reviews are in, folks, but if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know that I don't just blindly believe reviews. And as someone who frequents states like California and Florida often, I love Denny's. But I must admit, I have never actually eaten at a Denny's in New York State. I've let the bad word of mouth sway me. And so today I'm going to change that. I'm going to venture out and see if the rumors about New York Denny's are greatly exaggerated. However, as all great science experiments, the best results will be if I have something to compare New York Denny's to. So in this video, I will also be hopping on a plane and heading down to Florida, the closest overwhelmingly pro-Denny's state that I can get to. And I'm going to be sitting down and having one of their grand Slammwiches. So last night, we went to Florida Denny's. It was maybe between 10:30 and 11. Denny's was popping off. Granted, we did go to one right next to Disney first, and then we relocated to one that was a little bit quieter. And if the main difference between New York Denny's and Florida Denny's is the service, I have to say I agree. This waiter was so comically nice. A little bit of a strange dude, but very nice. First he comes up to the table and he goes, listen, I know the menu can be very overwhelming, so if you can't decide, please let me know and I'll tell you something delicious to eat.
You're all getting grand Slammwiches. They're very popular.
Sweet, weird, but sweet. We were with a table of about 8 people. I ordered the Slam Burger, a burger with hash browns and an egg on it. Delicious. It was great. But absolutely my favorite part of the meal was the waiter coming up to me and going, so do you want any sauce with that? I said, yeah, I'll take some ranch. He goes, okay, just ranch? And I was like, yeah, ranch. Listen, if you change your mind and you want a different sauce, and then he grabs my shoulder, he goes, I can make that happen. He was so dead set on wanting to be helpful, even if I wasn't asking for help, which is definitely a level of service you'll never get at a New York Denny's. And it turns out that even though I said I didn't want any sauce, I actually just didn't know what I wanted. The waiter comes back in the middle of the meal with a little bowl. I know you didn't order any sauce, but I made this one special myself. I came up with it. It's the perfect burger sauce, and I made it for you. A+, absolutely great addition to the burger. I just didn't know that I wanted it. And so that's the service at Denny's. But what's going on with the actual food? Here I have Florida Denny's mainstay, the Grand Slammwich. I ordered this as takeout from the Denny's down the road from our hotel. It was about an 11-minute drive, and then I was only at that Denny's for about 40 minutes for one Grand Slammwich, which I would assume they make a bunch of at the beginning of the day because they're so popular. Florida is having a big labor shortage at the moment, but I like Denny's method of hiring people is that all of the waiters there are walking around with shirts that say, need a job? ? And then on the back, there's the email to send your resume to Denny's. I've never seen a restaurant do this, and I'm a big fan. On the pin pad, there was a little video about how the Grand Slam gets made. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here. Wild how much money went into this to just play it on the credit card pin pad. So anyway, they come out, they hand me my Grand Slammwich, popping this bad boy open. It actually looks much better than I thought it would. It looks kind of like a breakfast Reuben, if there's such a thing. Look at how gooey this is. This is soaked in maple syrup. But it's also kind of looks like just a grilled ham and cheese. When it comes to breakfast food, it is kind of hard to reinvent the wheel. And just as our waiter pointed out last night, Denny's has an extensive and overwhelming menu. So just ask him and he'll recommend something delicious. Probably the Grand Slammwich. You really can't go wrong with throwing everything that you might want to order for breakfast right onto a sandwich. I feel like that's a classic. No, this is really good. This sat in my car for a little bit while I ran some errands, and it still tastes really good. Is it a Monte Cristo? It's kind of like a Monte Cristo, a little bit. Wow. The theory about Florida Denny's at least being really good definitely checks out. This gets an A-. And so now that Florida Denny's has passed the test with flying colors, let's head down the street and see what it's like here at a New York Denny's. So guess where I'm going later.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Denny's for lunch breakfast.
You're going to Florida? Like again?
No, I'm going to Denny's like I live down the road from a Denny's. I'm going to one here.
Why?
Nobody wants to go to Denny's with me here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you been to Denny's in New York? I went to a Denny's once. I don't know if it's the same one you're gonna go to. I guess just notable that I said I've been to a Denny's once.
No reason to go back, huh?
It was so bad that the manager came out and we only paid for like half the whole meal because he just comped like everything else because it was really an issue.
The whole thing is, bring your whole family.
Me, my parents, my sister probably, some of my cousins. I don't remember how far out it went though, but there were a lot of us.
Even when you go in like Florida, they're never quick and they never write about what you ordered either.
Yeah. The food that I ordered, they brought out, I had to send back like 3 times. I think it was just, I don't like barbecue sauce. And I was like, can I just get this without barbecue sauce? And they just wouldn't understand that. And I kept bringing barbecue sauce. I kept having to send it back, being like, I won't eat this. I'm sorry. It's like, there's still barbecue sauce in here.
Stop with a spoon trying to scrape it off.
One of my cousins, she ordered, I don't know the dish it was. I'm going to make up a dish that has the same effect. An avocado salad, which they brought out without any avocado. So what is this? And they said, we don't have any avocado.
That just sounds like it was a bowl of lettuce.
Yeah.
If you came to groove, there's no reason to prove.
So definitely a little less lively than Denny's in Florida. Everyone here is going to think that I'm talking to myself, but we're here for science. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
And now you've got yourself something funky.
Since Florida, I've stopped eating carbs, which eliminates the Grand Slammwich because of the toast and the pancakes. Well, pretty much the whole thing. Well, I'm back from my New York Denny's experience. You know what? Denny's might just be vacation food, boys and girls. That might be the moral of this story. Was it bad? No, it was exactly what I was expecting. However, there's not the charm of being on vacation and thinking, what does it matter? I'm on vacation. I also did wait half an hour for my check, and I was sitting by myself. It's a weird thing. The food wasn't bad, but the food was also something out of a cartoon. In my head, I'm still going to maintain that Florida Denny's or any other Denny's in any other state is just far superior to New York Denny's, because even looking at this building, it's not a place I want to go. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10.
Maybe the harsh reality of the situation is there is no such thing as a 5-star dining experience at Dennys. So please consider subscribing and liking this video so that you get shown content like this more often. And know that I deeply appreciate it. I'm Oliver the Ricketts, I love breakfast food, and I'll see you next time.
What did I order last night? What was that thing called? Oh, the Slam Burger.
I don't remember what the food was, but I remember specifically they brought the food out and had the barbecue sauce. I was like, I won't eat this. I asked for it without it. And I sent it back and they brought out very clearly the same food, but just like they took some stuff off the top.
What else did he do that was weird? Oh, yeah, he kept coming with the pickles.
You know, sitting by myself and awkwardly making a video in between people listening to me and realizing that I'm making a video. Not how I want to spend my breakfast hours.
I actually felt a little bad because when he bought it there, I giggled a little bit. And I hope he doesn't think I was laughing at him. I was just very surprised.